So ivermectin goes and binds to that spike protein and keeps it from getting into the cell. Another really cool thing it does is viruses like to get into the cell and they like to hijack our nucleus and our ribosomes. So ivermectin helps prevent the virus from actually hijacking our nucleus and making it make itself, and also hijacking our ribosomes, which transcribe and translate to make more virus. And that's how a virus lives, is it goes into your cell and makes your cells make more of it, and then it starts replicating itself, and your cells just become this little engine of making the virus. So ivermectin helps prevent that from happening.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Teresa. I'm a mom, I'm a health nut, and a wife to a cancer survivor. And today I'm with Dr. Jake to talk about ivermectin and how it helps people fight parasites, viruses, cancer. Dr. Jake?
Yeah, it's really exciting that I'm going to be able to talk about ivermectin today, because a lot of times people just think ivermectin and they think it's just for their animals, for their horses, for livestock, etc. It's just for parasites, but ivermectin has so many different uses and it's such a great drug.
And I know that you've had some successes as well with various patients of yours. Can you share a couple of examples of patients that you've treated with ivermectin?
So yeah, right now we're actually treating your husband with the anti-parasitic to help with his cancer, and you could kind of elaborate on how he's doing.
Well, I know we've been in treatment, a few months now, and we've already seen about 50% shrinkage in his tumors. So we're very excited about the protocol that you have him on, and which makes me very excited also about this episode for sure.
Also, I've been using it a lot for this past year for various viruses, and it has been showing great benefit for that too. So it's a really great medication, and I'm really happy to really dive into its usage.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into that today. But the first thing we want to do is we want to remind our listeners today that this is just a podcast, right, Dr. Jake?
Yeah, this is just a podcast, so I'm just going to give some rough information about ivermectin. So if you really want some detailed education on it or treat a specific medical condition, you need to give us a call at 801-676-9076 or visit our website at integrativemedica.com, find our phone number and give us a call to set up an appointment.
Wonderful. All right. Well, Dr. Jake, before we dive into it, I've got to ask, what is new with you?
So just recently started coaching my daughter's soccer team. Started out pretty rough because I only had one little coaching session with my girls. So only 6 of them showed up, and then we had the game, and I really didn't know who played what, and really wasn't able to train my goalie very well. So we lost 7-1 our first game, so that was really sad. But our following up practices, I was able to really find out who was the best forwards, midfielders, fullbacks, and goalie, and now we've won the past 3 games, so we're 3-1 now. So it's been a lot of fun coaching my daughter's soccer team and teaching them how to play.
So you seem to, I mean, you obviously know a lot about all these positions. Do you have a background in soccer?
Yeah, I played soccer. I played soccer from like 11 years old all the way through high school.
Wow, that's great. And then how long have you been coaching your daughter's team? Like, do you do it every season? Is this your first year doing it?
This is my first year. I kind of decided to do it because I got disappointed in the other coaches. They didn't seem like they really knew what they were doing. So I decided I'm going to coach my daughter's team this time, because I was pretty much coaching on the sideline, telling everyone what to do anyways. So I was like, I got to get into coaching for my daughter so I don't go crazy.
That is awesome. Well, I'm sure she's just going to love all of the memories that you're going to be making with coaching her team. That's wonderful. My boys have been in soccer too. They haven't anymore, but we've done many years of them being in soccer. And my oldest actually even played like club soccer for a while. And even my second son got to play 1 year of club soccer, and then he didn't make it the next year because he wasn't being coachable. So now we're working on teaching them how to be coachable so that they can make it to club the following year. So we love soccer, definitely. All right. Well, I know our listeners are very excited and interested in learning more about ivermectin. So let's not let them, wait any longer, and let's dive in. So I think the first best place, I think, to really start with it is, what is ivermectin and how did it all begin? Like, how did its discovery begin? What's its history?
So ivermectin was first discovered in the 70s. So it's been around a really long time. We have a ton of research on ivermectin. It was found in a soil. So it was called ivermectin. So a substance called ivermectin, A without the I. Ivermectin was found in the soil in Japan. And really, we could only find the substance in Japan. We don't find it anywhere else. So they found the substance, researchers started studying it, finding out what kind of properties it had, and they started noticing that it was really great for parasites, and it had low side effect profile. a lot of the treatments they had for parasites had a higher side effect profile, and antiparasitics can be really harmful on the body. But ivermectin, they started noticing that it wasn't really harmful on the body with doses they were using, and it was a great anti-parasitic. So they started using it a lot in helping third world countries, especially, but even here in the United States, we started using ivermectin for river blindness, which is like in Florida and Tennessee and other areas with a lot of swamplands with a lot of parasites,
Hmm.
and it was did wonders. So it's been beneficial for thousands and billions of people with its use for antiparasitic, and it's received a Nobel Prize in the early 2000s for its therapeutic use. We also have been using it for malaria for a long time. So if you go to a place that has a lot of malaria, many times doctors will put you on a low dose ivermectin as a preventative so you don't come down with malaria. So it's been used a really long time, has a really good safety profile, and we know exactly what type of side effects it has. Really awesome too is it's been really great for third world countries because they have a lot of parasites and have a lot of clean water, and they've been using it just a periodic treatment as a preventative. They take it like once or twice a year, just one dose ivermectin, and then it prevents them from actually getting parasites. So pretty amazing on how it has really benefited the world.
So it can be both a preventative, but also like if you have it, it can actually treat it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that work? Like, how does it prevent and kill parasites?
So it keeps the parasite, so directly it's cytotoxic to the parasite, but also keeps it from proliferating. So that's what's great about it is you take it preventatively and it keeps those parasites from replicating or growing, and it goes right after them real quick.
And then if it can't grow, then I imagine just eventually it just dies off
They
because
die out. Mm-hmm.
right,
Yeah.
it has to grow in order for it to survive. Interesting, very interesting. Okay. We know that it's a bit controversial lately with some of the things that have been happening, but I also know that there have been some newer discoveries on how it has been helpful with other things outside of just parasites and ivermectin. Obviously, you gave an example of my husband and some of the people that you're treating. What are some of the newest discoveries on how it's beneficial to other types of ailments?
So we're starting to find out a lot about it for its benefit in viruses, especially in the past couple of years in that regard. But we definitely did have research before that on how it was beneficial for various viruses. But then we started finding out how it was beneficial for that thing that's going around. So let's dive into how this works therapeutically for viruses. So one cool thing is we have the spike protein. Maybe a lot of you here have heard a lot about spike protein. I never heard this before the
Yeah.
past 18 months. But what it is it binds to that spike protein. And a spike protein, how this virus gets into another cell, is it has that little spike protein on the outside. It binds to the cell and likes to go into the cell that way. So ivermectin goes and binds to that spike protein and keeps it from getting into the cell. Another really cool thing it does is viruses like to get into the cell and they like to hijack our nucleus and our ribosomes. So ivermectin helps prevent the virus from actually hijacking our nucleus and making it make itself, and also hijacking our ribosomes, which transcribe and translate to make more virus. And that's how a virus lives: is it goes into your cell and makes your cells make more of it, and then it starts replicating itself, and your cells just become this little engine of making the virus. So ivermectin helps prevent that from happening, binding to the spike protein, preventing it from hijacking the nucleus and the ribosomes. Also, what's really cool about it is it prevents some of the dangerous things that can happen when the virus is being replicated too much in the cells. Is something called a cytokine storm. That is your immune system seeing way too much virus. It gets really angry and really ramps up to go after the virus, and then that can be dangerous for your lungs because they fill up with fluid. Could be dangerous for your kidneys, for your liver, etc. So we don't want the cytokine storm to happen. We want your immune system to be stimulated, but not too much because that's going to cause issues. And ivermectin helps decrease that cytokine storm that's happening. Also, what specifically for that thing that's going around is this is a spike protein that can cause damage to the blood vessels and lead to blood clots. So ivermectin helps decrease that blood clot formation that can happen from the spike protein causing that damage to our blood vessels.
Now, would you say then, when you're talking about this like overactive immune system that we can have in these situations, and that ivermectin really helps with it, would people then with autoimmune conditions be specifically like, would they benefit more from ivermectin?
So I wouldn't just take it if you had a autoimmune condition and just think, hey, I'm going to take it because I want to decrease that inflammatory response. Now, you could take ivermectin if you have an autoimmune condition, if you have certain bugs that are causing your autoimmune condition, chronic infections like a chronic virus or a chronic parasitic infection. That can be really great in those situations.
Interesting. Because I'm thinking, a lot of people, especially with autoimmune conditions, are especially afraid, I think, of doing anything to kind of ramp things up, and so I wonder if, like, if you do have an autoimmune condition and you do catch yourself and you do have a pretty bad virus of some sort, if it's would it be easier, I guess, because you have that, to possibly get a prescription from a doctor if you got a virus that was really, a challenge, I say, to
So if you
fight?
have a virus that's really challenging, that has really increased likelihood of causing that cytokine storm, and if you have an autoimmune condition, especially, I think it would be very important to reach out to a doctor that actually knows how to prescribe ivermectin, which is most doctors really don't. They don't know how to prescribe it right. They don't know the exact dosage that needs to be used, and they don't know the exact duration that has to be used and the timing of using it. So you just need to find a doctor that actually is educated and knows exactly what they're doing to be able to prescribe it appropriately.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's say the person is able to get it. Are there any side effects? Is there, any too much length of time to use it? What's the general expectation when somebody is taking ivermectin?
So you can take too much ivermectin. So it is a toxic medication if not taken right. So I never recommend people to start taking it willy-nilly without taking it and learning from an educated provider how to take it. So it can have side effects. Now, usually if you take it appropriately, they're very mild, and many times you don't experience these, but they're just like maybe diarrhea, gastrointestinal upset, maybe a mild headache, and some body aches. These are some things that can happen for sensitive individuals, but usually they don't have side effects with it if taken right. And if you take too much, you experience those symptoms, but then you're going to have much more severe symptoms, possibly some organ failure and things like that. So it just needs to be taken right, just like any drug or any supplement for that matter. It just needs to be taken right, and don't take too much of it. And just don't think, oh, I'm going to treat this virus, I'm going to take it. You need to know how to take it.
Right. So I know that, like, antibiotics help with a different type of ailment, but when you take an antibiotic, you typically have to take probiotics and so forth to kind of help with some of the negative effects that it can also have on a healthy body. Is there anything with ivermectin that people should supplement with in addition to just maybe help it work better or to counteract any of those negative effects?
Yeah, so what's bad about the antibiotics is it's actually killing off your good flora in your gut, and we need that flora in our gut. We didn't know that probably 30 years ago. This is quite new information, and we thought that antibiotics were just candy and we could take as many as we wanted. But it destroys the bacteria in there, and that's why it's good for probiotics. Not that I know of that specifically taking ivermectin will prevent that. Taking something to help prevent the side effects of ivermectin. Again, ivermectin has been used a really long time, and you only want to take it if it's absolutely needed. You're not going to just take it because you think it's cool. You take it because you might have a parasite, or you might have
Right.
malaria, or you might have some bad virus, or you might have cancer. So you only take it if you have some bad stuff going on.
So let's dive into that part. I mean, you just mentioned the cancer part. How does it work for cancer?
Really cool stuff we're finding out with ivermectin is it helps decrease the proliferation of cancer cells. So that means decreasing the growth of that cancer. So if cells are proliferating, dividing, growing, that cancer is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So ivermectin helps decrease that proliferation. Something else it does, it helps decrease metastasis. That is when the cells just disperse throughout the entire body. One of the goals when I'm treating patients is I want to keep it from metastasizing. That's probably my biggest goal, is I don't want it going to other areas. Because let's say you have a breast cancer. If it hangs out in the breast, you're going to die of something else. You're not going to die of cancer if it just stays there in the breast. But let's say it starts getting into our lymphatics and starts going to our brain or our liver, getting into our bone marrow. That's bad news. That's when the body starts shutting down. So ivermectin can help prevent that metastatic reaction, those cells dispersing throughout the entire body. And that's pretty amazing how it can do that. It also has been shown to be really good as an alternative to chemotherapy. So some cancers don't respond well to chemotherapy. You might try all kinds of different chemotherapies and they're not responding well at all. And ivermectin is a great alternative that potentially could be beneficial for those cancers that don't respond well. We've seen in the research that cancers that haven't been responding well to chemotherapy, they have been able to respond well to ivermectin. That's not in every case, but it definitely has a benefit for doing that.
One of the things that you're saying is I'm putting some things together in my mind, and I'm wanting some clarification. Viruses, parasites, cancer. One thing that I'm hearing is it seems like they all have a commonality in the way that they take over and replicate. Is that true? Is there a similarity in that? And is that why ivermectin seems to work in all three cases?
There's a piece of that for sure. We keep on learning more and more about this medication. It's a substance, right? It came from soil, ivermectin. So we keep on learning about how it works, and we keep on learning about, okay, let's try this in cancer, let's try this in viruses, let's study how it affects that. And then we're finding out what it does, but it is helping decrease division and cellular proliferation in many instances. Like, it helps that cytokine storm in viruses, it helps decrease that proliferation metastasis in cancer cells. It does decrease growth, which is pretty interesting what we're finding out there when we first and then it does decrease growth of parasites too. So yeah, I never thought of it that way, but very interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I'm like, okay, there's got to be this commonality, and that's what I'm hearing when you're explaining it to me, at least in my own layman's mind here.
Yeah,
Okay, so obviously the last couple of years has brought a lot of controversy, and there's been a lot of like censorship and so forth when it comes to people being able to talk about it. Is it even something right now, given the political climate and everything that we're at, is it even something that people can actually get prescribed these days?
So it's really interesting. A year ago, we weren't able to really get ivermectin because of governmental restrictions, things like that. We won't really dive into why that was happening at all. I don't know exactly why it was happening, because there's good research on it being beneficial for potential viruses. So you can get it now, and I'm able to prescribe it a lot more for my patients and be able to help them out when they are dealing with these viruses that are going around. So yeah, you can get it, you can use it. A lot of doctors aren't prescribing it because they don't know how to use it, and they don't know the benefits of it, or they don't really want to dive into the benefits because they know about other treatments that they're supposed to prescribe. But you just got to find a doctor that actually knows about it, how to prescribe it. And yes, you can get it right now.
That's wonderful to hear, and hopefully that'll continue happening throughout the rest of this year and next year. And of course, as just research just continues to come out more and more on its benefits to other ailments. Dr. Jake, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with this. How can people follow you or get a hold of you if they want to just talk more about their health or learn more about, where they're at in their health at this time?
So yeah, if you want to know more information about how to treat your specific medical condition, or you want to discuss how to be more healthy, you can give my office a call and visit our website at integrativemedica.com, find our number there, and give us a call. We also do virtual visits, so you can set it up that way too.
And we'll make sure and put those links in the description box below if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you again so much, Dr. Jake, and we'll see you all next week.
See you guys.
Hey, Dr. Jake, thank you for your time today. And if you enjoyed the show, then do us a favor and leave a review. It helps more people to find the show, which could save their life. And remember, this is a podcast and should not replace personalized attention from a medical professional like Dr. Jake. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, cancer of any stage, or a life-changing illness, visit our website today and schedule a virtual appointment with one of our doctors who can lead you to a treatment plan in your area. That's integrativemedica.com. integrativemedica.com.
Thank you for listening to the Integrative Medica podcast with Dr. Jake. To hear past episodes and get alerts for the future, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform, and be sure to follow us on YouTube as well. Just search for Integrative Medica with Dr. Jake.